Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the High Mountain Church regular channel. And I don't know, we must have had a really interesting conversation last week. The topic must have been broadly interesting because usually for the view count for our Bible study usually runs around 5 or 6. But last week it was 87. So, you know, we kind of threw caution to the wind last week, and we talked openly about political situation and our own personal struggles and fears. And sometimes, you know, the search engines on YouTube will pick up patterns of conversation, and if people are searching for a conversation, it'll send them there. So I guess that's what happened. I don't know. But anyway, to those of you who are tuning in through the YouTube channel, this is the High Mountain Presbyterian Church. I'm Pastor Lou. We are returning to a regular recording and broadcasting of our Bible studies that take place both Thursday night and Wednesday morning. Which reminds me to remind you that tomorrow we will not be doing the Wednesday study because I have a dentist appointment. And I've been waiting for this one for a while, so I don't want to cancel it. So I'm sorry, I won't be here. Anyway.
Better you than me.
Yeah.
You mean you won't point from the dentist chair?
Look, I'm committed, but I'm not that committed. Like, unless you want to hear somebody cry and really whine and moan.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm working on trying to get, I don't know, I'm trying to get my teeth fixed. And I don't have big problems like whole sections, but I just, from time to time, I have pain, and so they're finding sources of some of the pain. And one of them was an abscess that was down in the bone in my jaw.
Ooh.
And they've been working on that now for a couple of weeks. And that's who I'm going back to, and I hope to get a clean bill that says they got it, they rooted it out. But he's been making me take this antibiotic, a pill, morning and night, and it is the worst tasting thing I've ever had to take. I look at it and I talk to it and I curse it. I don't know, I taste it all day long.
Take it with some honey.
With honey?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try that. I'll try anything. I mean, it says take it with food, which I've been doing, but I don't know.
That's to help coat your stomach. It must be a pretty strong antibiotic.
Yeah, it
But
is.
if you take it with take it, then take a spoon of honey, it may help get that unforgiving taste out of your mouth.
Okay, I will do that. I've got honey, so let's turn to our psalm for tonight. Boy, we've struggled through with some rough ones. This has been celebrated across the board as one of the most beautiful psalms. Nobody knows the number, but when you hear the words, you recognize them. They're in a hymn. Actually, they're in 2 hymns, or maybe more. But it talks about, as we'll hear, it talks about what it's like when we manage to trust our lives into God's care, and really trust and not fall out, but to continue to trust, and what it feels like, what it sounds like, and it's one of the best sort of encouragements to do that kind of behavior, even if you're a person who's regularly afraid. So, Barbara, would you like to read?
Sure. 95?
It's 91.
90? No, can't be.
Yes.
I'm up to 95.
Well, how'd you get there? We didn't do 91 yet.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay.
I don't have any markings in any other pages that take me. And what I feel like saying is, I don't care.
Right, I was gonna say, that's okay. It sounds
I
like
like-
it's,
I like the introduction of 91 of truly trusting in, believing in, and the cares of God. So
Right.
I didn't read that one with you all.
So that's why I'm
Okay.
saying, let's do 91, even if we go back, and I think you might be right. I think you're right, that 93 is supposed to be the one, but I don't care. Let's
Yeah,
do,
we,
91, that's what it's saying. We need 91.
we do, and
all
I,
right,
and I don't know why, but I don't remember doing it, and I
Wow.
should. So Barbara, if you're willing,
sure.
let's read
Why not?
91.
You who live in the shelter of the Most High, who abide in the shadow of the Almighty, who say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For he will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler. You will not fear the terror of the night, or the arrow that flies by day, or the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will not only look with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked, because you have made the Lord your refuge, the Most High your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, no scourge come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the adder, the young lion and the serpent you will trample underfoot. Those who love me I will deliver. I will protect those who know my name. When they call to me, I will answer them. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue them and honor them. With long life, I will satisfy them and show them my salvation. Trust
Has some pretty sweet words. Don't you think?
My comments are trust in God as protector, a song of trust that makes 3 promises of assistance, each of progressively decreasing length. Let's
What
see
are they?
You know, and someone speaks in God's name. It doesn't say the first person, striking imagery. You who lie in the
I like the commentator I have says that when you read this, you get the feeling the promise of God's protection and presence is not limited to a certain time or place in your life.
Right.
It is omnipresent with you. God gives security by the day and by the night, constantly, in the dark as well as in the brightness of noontime. And he also points out that this particular psalmist doesn't think you need to be in the temple or in the sanctuary in order to hear the promise of protection. In other words, God travels with you in that promise of protection. I mean, it's a pretty far-reaching promise of God. You're not going to, the pestilence will not reach you. You're not going to stumble on the stones of life. I think there has to be a way to hear this and understand that it doesn't mean that you're going to live a charmed life above the fray. I just think it's an invitation for you to have a state of mind so that that you're never ultimately shaken in your confidence about God being with you. Not
Right, and that's what I've also heard. I heard that, as long as you worship, you trust in him, you believe in him, that he will protect you. That stone will be there. You may see it, you may kick it, it may hurt, but he will heal you from it. He will protect you.
right.
Very strong song. I have to write that one. 91. I love the words.
Yeah.
I love the word.
Yeah, I can hear the music of the hymn, he'll save you from the fowlers, because this is the one, he will lift you up and carry you on eagle's wings. The Catholic Church a few years ago commissioned a whole new set of hymns, and they paid artists and composers to write hymns. And this one song, this Under Eagle's Wings, it's sort of the Catholic Church's favorite hymn. Everybody wants to sing it because it's such a beautiful tune, but the images in it are even more beautiful. The snare of the fowler will not trap you. You will be unfettered in your journey of faith. And I feel like whenever I come to a psalm like this, I feel like that man cried out to Jesus, and he asked him if he had faith, and the man said, "I believe, Lord, help my unbelief." Because I do believe. I believe everything this psalm says. I trust my life into the care of God, but I take it back. I'm always grabbing my life back from God. I'm always sort of saying, "No, you know what? I think you're not doing a very good job here. I better do this myself." So I find it hard to stay continually in trust. And I find it especially true today. I don't know why. I know everybody can talk about the tumult of today, the stories and things that I have only read about in the past with totalitarian governments. And we have these experiences actually taking place on the streets, the highways and byways of our towns and cities. It is happening in our world. And it is drilling a hole in my life experience. And it doesn't always get filled up with confidence and faith in God.
One of the commentaries I'm looking at says it's God's comprehensive protection. And it's hard to remind ourselves that God is with us all the time. And it's not just when we ask God to be with us, but that the comprehensive part of it is something that's hard. The presence of God is not always easy to feel.
No.
And to remind ourselves.
No, I have to deal with who I am. I don't know how other people are, but this is the way I am. When things are going well, I trust God.
Of course.
And I can encourage other people to trust God, even if in their
Right.
life it's not going well. If it's going well in my life, I trust God. But when I perceive it's not going well, it's scary. I stumble and fall right away. I do. And I'm ashamed of myself. I hide from it. Sometimes I just confess it and then it gets better, but I don't know. I like it when things go my way.
Yeah.
Too.
Anybody else?
Me too.
Yeah. And I don't mean that just my way. For me, I'm not selfish about it. I have a really good feeling when things, you know, when, I don't know, when fairness is revealed, and especially if someone who's been taken advantage of gets vindicated, I don't know, or something that I'm worried about gets resolved. Wow, I can be such a person of faith, you know, in those times. Ugh,
But not when children are being killed.
no,
Right. Yeah.
right. Exactly right. And I don't want to become numb to that. I don't want that to be something that I go, oh yeah, I know about that, but well, what are you going to do? I don't.
I-
And I know weapons and bombs and planes and all these things, they're a part of modern life, right? I mean, everywhere you go, that's the guns, and no wonder we have guns on the streets,
Excuse me.
because, you know,
Excuse me.
in our human society, we solve things with weapons. I mean, we just do. It's just as natural as the rain. And unfortunately, I know too many circumstances in the world today where, as you said, Colette, it's the children that are dying.
Yeah.
It's, or to me, worse, the children are starving.
Yeah.
I do not want to just get used to the fact that in Gaza, there are an enormous number of people who are starving because someone won't let food come to them.
Right.
I want to trust in God for the world. I want to trust in God for the world. I do. But I struggle with it. And I know the part of it is, well, you know, don't just keep waiting for God to do something, figure out what you need to do. So I try to do what can be done for me in my time. You know, I read and I learn as much as I can. I give money to causes. And when people express what I think are stupid attitudes about the people in Gaza and how, you know, they're just violent and they deserve to die, I open my mouth. I'm not silent. I lose friends and family over it.
I think we always want the magic answer to, if we could only do this, then everything will be okay. And then we do it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's good, and we get discouraged. It's discouraging to keep on keep-oning and not see anything better happening. But we have to do the best we can.
Yeah, and I try to do that, and then I wait for God. Okay, God, come on, play your hand now, you know. Come through. I'll tell you, I think I'm gonna have a rough day tomorrow because I have put all my cards on the table behind this young 19-year-old employee who got arrested by the police and charged in Superior Court with aggravated assault, when all she was trying to do was to defend her sick mother from an attack from the upstairs neighbor. And she had pepper spray, and she sprayed the attacker, the aggravated one. And when the police arrived, she's African American, she's black, and 3 police officers arrived, 2 black women and 1 white man. And the white man was aggressive, and he didn't care. They laid out the situation. They showed him the videos that all she was doing was self-defense for her mother, and he didn't care. And the two other police officers, the women, they have them saying to him, come on, you've got to be kidding. You can't, this girl is doing what you want people to do. And he said, you know, I don't care, turn around. He put the handcuffs on her and put her in the car and took her off to jail.
Oh,
Yeah. So, you
and
know.
left her alone.
What?
And then her mother was alone.
Yeah, her mother was alone, crying, saying, please don't take my daughter to jail. You know, please, all she was doing was defending me. So she went to jail and they kept her up. She didn't sleep. They released her at 5 o'clock in the morning. And she's such a good, dependable employee. She was supposed to open the school at 7. She left from the jail and went to the school and opened the school at 7 o'clock to care for the children. So tomorrow, her case comes before the Superior Court judge. And I have all of my, this is an overstatement, but I gotta tell you, there's some piece of it that's true. I have all of my optimism and hope and faith behind the idea that when the judge sees this young person and hears this story, that the judge, male or female, will look at this and say, I am throwing this case out of here. There's absolutely no reason for this person to be here. At least throw it back down to municipal court so that she can keep her job in the daycare. And then give her a shot with a good lawyer, which I hired for her, to defend her and to get this dismissed. This was self-defense, pure and simple. But I'm telling you the details of this situation because in this one tiny little situation, I can get so easily discouraged. Like, I don't know how Howard Thurman and Martin Luther King Jr. endured situation after situation where they would go before the courts and the courts would reveal the prejudice and the inability to administer justice fairly, mostly because of the color of the person's skin. And I want this one. I want a victory on this one. And I know it might not happen.
Yeah.
So, come on, Bible study. Give me some advice. Help me out here. What does it mean to trust God in this?
What was she accused of?
She was accused of aggravated assault.
Against whom?
Against the tenant who lived upstairs, who had come downstairs and threatened them, verbally threatened them, and then said if they did not go back in their house and leave him alone, he was going to get a gun. And upon which she pulled out the can of mace and sprayed him in his face. And he called the cops.
Okay. Yeah. So it's aggravated assault. I guess she should have called the cops before.
Right, that's what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying. Why didn't you do the right thing? But,
And let him go get his gun before they came?
yeah, exactly. And the other thing that she'll tell you is she's 19 years old. She tells this story very clearly. You know, I try to offer advice to say, well, you know, maybe the lesson is call the cops. She goes, do you want to know how many times I've called the cops on this man? And she said, you know how many times they've actually come? They don't come.
I'm sure they have heard of it.
Yeah.
What? Something happened.
Something's happened to the audio. My audio's breaking up.
Something.
Everyone's wonky.
What? I think of the, maybe the advice is just, I'll take a copy of this psalm and give it to her. Right? Just say, here, read this. I can't, Debbie, you are muted now.
Myself, because I thought it was, just show up. Just being there sometimes is enough. Support. I mean, if you're allowed to interject something, that's fine, but just be there for support.
Yeah. Which I will do. And over my life, that's been the one thing, I feel like it can be very powerful, to show up, to stand there. I'm not a miracle worker, but I'm a white man, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, right.
It probably shouldn't any more than anybody else, but it makes a difference. And
You could also tell them that she showed up for work the next day in 2 hours' time
yeah.
because she's a responsible young woman, and yeah.
She doesn't have a single thing in her life. She's never had any entanglement with the police. She went through high school, graduated from high school without detention. She, I don't know.
Who's the judge?
I did know that, but I don't know the name now.
Yeah. Who was he appointed by, I wonder?
But I know it's Superior Court in Patterson.
Oh, well, it's a shame.
When is this taking place?
Well,
What is-
she has a court appearance tomorrow,
Oh, it's tomorrow. Yeah.
so I'm gonna.
You're at the dentist.
Well, I know. I'm at the dentist early in the morning. I think her appointment is at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Well, report back.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's the thing. Like, the reason I told you this is because, I mean, look, she has something at stake in this, right? She's got something at stake. But here's what I do. I pile on. And the one I pile on is God. I go, God, I'm warning you. There's something.
Show up.
Show up.
Show up.
Stop saying flowery things like put your wings and your eagles and all those things. Come on, it's time. Bring it. And so, yes, that's her life and that's about her, but it so easily becomes, like for me, it's what am I to think? And I was thinking about this today. I was kind of going back over what I think are the biggie events, right? The biggie events in history. I don't know how African American people who were captured and made slaves and their whole families lived out slavery and they suffered intensely. I have no idea how they emerged as people of faith. How did that happen? How?
That's why I'm trying to read Howard Thurman's book to see how you have that faith that God is with you, because I guess I've been so privileged always to things going well for me, that how do you deal with it when they don't go well, but yet you still have faith that God is with you?
You just said it. That's it, Barbara. That's what I've been trying to say since we turned on this machine tonight. I live a charmed life. And I can live in this little, this little radio frequency where when things go a little bad for me, I struggle and my faith kind of dissipates. And then when things go kind of well, then my faith rallies and I feel like, yes, I'm a believer, praise God, and I'm strong. But you know, when the rubber hits the road and you know, you send your kid off to a music festival and there's a raid and people are hacked up and murdered and dragged off and held captive. What? Like, what? Or when bombs fall day and night and the town the village you lived in, every building is gone. And there's nothing but rubble. But where is it? Would I have faith enough? I don't know. Signs don't point to that. I know it's not that way for you all. You guys are like,
Oh, no, of course not.
you guys,
We all know exactly what to do in every
yeah,
situation.
you guys are all champions of faith.
Yeah, right.
We are.
We all have the answers, right?
You are great believers.
If only.
Oh, golly. But it's the same question that's always asked, isn't it? You know, when things, I mean, you just read the newspaper and you ask, you know, in Gaza, Iran, I mean, you ask the same question, where are you, God? Why is this happening? You know, how can we keep believing? It's the same.
When I was growing up in the Pentecostal church, you know, the faith there was more graphic in terms of day-to-day life. You know, we came to church, people talked about the events of their life, and that they used to have this thought, this image of, they talked about people being spiritual giants. You ever heard of that phrase?
No?
Oh, they're a spiritual giant. And that meant they could endure the various experiences of life, the ups and downs, and they always carried on in faith. They were spiritual giants, you know.
Well,
Spiritual.
they're amazing because I really don't think that people are capable of that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Except I have to say, you know, there were people who, even as a young child, I mean, honestly, I think I know a spiritual giant, and I know she'll say it isn't true, but I think Colette's a spiritual giant. I think she is. Sorry, Colette, you can't listen to this part.
I think you might be right. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, some people can just weather the storm and then they know that God is their rock and they're okay with that. I find that very difficult at times.
Yeah,
I
feel the same.
find it difficult at all times.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But like I said, I know you all are spiritual giants. I know that. So, you know, I tell these stories and I know in your head you're thinking, oh, grasshopper, you'll learn. Right?
Not really.
Yeah.
But I think that if you think you are able to do things, that doesn't necessarily mean you are. I think the more we question, the stronger we can become.
Yeah.
Didn't Jesus had that moment in the garden?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah. And there are other prophets too that have doubted and even tried to run away.
Yeah.
And then their faith wasn't always at the same level. You're up, you're down.
it's being human, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes, I think it is. And I don't want to be human anymore.
Well, you might be stuck.
I know.
Join,
Guess what?
join the Republican Party.
I have a choice. Or,
Well, I don't think that's fair.
oh, not fair.
You would have wanted to stay in the garden, right? Instead of being ejected to the earth.
Yeah, I don't like life on these terms. That's the thing that's what in my conversation with God and when I read the ancient texts, I still think that what Adam and Eve said to God was, we don't like life on these terms. You don't know what you invented. You don't know what it's like, and we don't like it. So don't punish us for trying to climb our way out of the circumstances of life. You know, and then you get, again, I ran into a guy in a grocery store today, and I must have a sign on me that says, talk to me about your problems, you know. But we were standing there by the lettuce, and all of a sudden, he feels like he could trust me enough to tell me that he's just recently gotten into recovery from alcohol. And he's feeling so good and so strong and so full of life, and he's so happy. And I couldn't be happier for him. You know, I couldn't be. And I'm reminded, you know, that one of the wisdom principles of the 12-step program is accepting life on life's terms. Mm-hmm. Alcoholics are dreamers. Alcoholics are people who want the world to be different than it is. And at a really deep level, they want it to be different than it is. And they can't make it different, so they use alcohol or they use whatever they can to try to get into a life that is different than the way life actually is. And so, yes, I think your encouragement to say, look, even the prophets, even Jesus, you know, I think the key is that when you're feeling low in faith, it's all right to talk about it. It's all right to name it. You know, the prophets went up to the top of the hill and made a fist and shook it at the heavens. Yeah. I think that too is part of faith. I don't like that part of it.
Is there really an answer? Well, I guess there is if you believe.
Yeah,
That's your answer.
I think the answer is put your one foot in front of the other and live your life. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do. I do. I think that's, quote, as close as you get to an answer. You accept life on life's terms. Mm-hmm. You celebrate the times when the words of this song, you know, I will lift you up, will carry you on eagle's wings, the snare of the fowler will not harm you. You celebrate those times when you see God's deliverance and protection, but you always remember that God is not only with you in those times, but that God is walking beside you every step of the way, every day.
I think we also have to look at people who are such inspiration and are, you know, walking, certainly have God within them, that, you know, they are able to keep on keep-oning. And, you know, a lot of people are. And that's, you know, what inspires me is that I know that other people can do it. And I found a Pandora, there's actually a protest song station on Pandora. And I've been listening to that the past few days, trying, you know, to just listen to all we are saying is give peace a chance. And, you know, that, you know, I know there are people, I'm not alone,
Right.
I guess. And that what inspires me, is that I'm not alone in working towards a better life for everyone.
Right. Yeah, and you're not alone in looking beyond the struggles of your own life, but wanting a good life for all,
Right?
for everyone. That's why, to me, the longing for justice is so deep in my heart. You know, it's like, justice is a real thing. It's real. And it takes human beings who believe in it and will pursue it to be able to administer it to people without regard for their color of their skin, or whether they have enough money, or whether they don't, or whether they're clean, or whether they're dirty. It's just a level field of justice.
Yeah, the John Lennon song, Imagine,
Right,
Yeah.
this, you know, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Right.
right,
Thank God that's true, because,
right.
yeah,
That's one of the songs I'm listening to.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I know, but that's the only thing. I need to remind myself that there are others who have worked for justice, and, you know, that things have changed, and look at certain people, certain places where it's happened, that things have gotten better, and that we can somehow or other do it. Hopefully, find ways to keep on progress, that people will live better lives.
Is it all about lessons learned
Yeah.
and not repeating
Yeah.
the ones that we've learned from?
Yeah, I think it is about lessons learned, and it's also celebrating it when progress is made.
Right.
I think in the last couple of months, a hole in my there's a hole in the bottom of my optimism tank. And the hole is this: when they start removing progress that has been made,
Right.
you know, when they start taking, I don't know, they take the names that have been memorialized, not the Confederate racist statues,
Right.
but for real people who have really advanced the love and concern for all people, and they start removing the markers of their life.
Right.
Progress of women who have broken through in ceilings, and all of a sudden their name is stricken from the record because they were DEI.
But they're still in our memories, and we have not forgotten them.
No, and I hope that
We haven't
won't.
forgotten John Lewis.
No, we have
And,
not.
they can do whatever they want with whatever has been named after him, but we're not going to forget him.
No.
And, the impression that what he has done, any of the freedom riders or the civil rights people or Nelson Mandela, you go on and on, they're the heroes. And we have to realize that, no matter what people say, that doesn't diminish the person and what they've done.
I have liked, like as if it matters. I have liked the progress that we have made.
Absolutely.
I have really liked it. I have liked it for the gay and lesbian community. I have liked it, the progress that was we were nearly over the mountaintop for transgender people. I have liked it. Oh, gosh, it's so hard when you see it sliding back down the hill.
and there's no reason for it. It's, you see the stories of the transgendered people that are going to be thrown out of the service now.
Yeah.
Some that have given decades of service to the country.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. In fact, it will actually hurt morale. It will hurt troop readiness. And they're saying it's going to do, that community being in the service is the problem. Well, no, they're the problem.
Right.
And I saw on the good news, Barbara sends it out every day, that, the happy news, I forget what the name of the blog.
Smile, there's Smile and the Chopwood one.
Right.
Yeah, I think one of them today had a story about, I think it was from the Times or something, where there's going to be a group of caregivers, physicians, heads of, insurance companies. They're all going to try and get together and do an end run around RFK Jr.'s awful vaccine policies, so that they will be able to make. They're trying to do this as an independent group that's going to convince people, and especially insurance companies, to continue to pay for the vaccines that will keep people well. Because it looks like they're going to, what they were trying to do with COVID, they're going to do with with measles and rubella and all the things that we've come to know, chickenpox. Your kids don't suffer with those things anymore.
No.
And what's the plan here? So, Judy often says, can't we have an underground government?
Right.
I think that's kind of the idea here, is this is going to be an alternative panel for vaccine approval. And let's see. I mean, I'm sure it's a long haul. It may not go anywhere, but if they can convince the insurance companies to continue to pay for these life-saving vaccines, that would be a good thing. I mean, stuff as basic as that.
Yeah. It'll be like, which America do you want to live in?
Yeah.
It'll be
Which
America.
side are you on, boys? Which
Yes,
side
that's
are you on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think we have to think outside the box and find ways that we can continue to make it better. And not expect that it's going to be all coming from the government, because the government is turning its backs on everyone.
Yeah. One of the stories that I read, and I don't know if it's true, I hope it is, but that the CEO of Tinder, Tinder is it's like a pornographic site that for men, and have you heard this?
No, but I know what Tinder is. Yeah.
Well, but so the guy that's the CEO of Tinder has made an announcement. He's given 1 week, and he says that if the state of Florida passes one more hostile piece of legislation to gay and lesbian community or to the transgender community, they're going to release the names of every person that is registered on Tinder.
Yeah. Swipe right, swipe left.
They're not going to protect the privacy at all of the people who have used that service. And I think that is fabulous. All these politicians will be quaking in their seats as they try to imagine if, their information is going to get released.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Too bad he announced.
Yeah.
If he announced it ahead of time, they'll come knocking on his door at midnight.
Yeah, that's right.
Put him in Moscow.
He disappeared. All of a sudden, we don't know where he is.
Yeah, he disappeared. Gosh. Oh, this, just on the news every night, I watch MSNBC. So at least one of the shows every night will show the latest ICE, grabs off the street. And they're awful.
They are.
They are not. There's no way that they kept showing last night the landscaper who was in the process of using the trimmer.
Yeah.
On it. He's a 48-year-old man with 3 sons in the Marines, right? And they grab him, they slam him to the ground. They said he came at them with the weed whacker. You can see the film. All he's doing is, it was in his hands and he was running away, trying to get away. They sprayed him with the pepper spray. They slammed him to the ground. They dislocated his shoulder. They forced him in the car. And much like your 19-year-old teacher, one of the things he asked his sons when they came to try and, come to his, relief, he said he hadn't finished the job he was doing. Could they make sure it got done?
Oh, my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
These are the people they're calling
Right.
criminals and
Right.
hoodlums, and it's just heartbreaking to see it.
And they released the evidence today that when they say, well, they're arresting criminals and everything, but they really did offer employment to all of the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th to work as ICE agents.
Oh, is that where they're getting them?
And that's one of the reasons why these people want their faces covered so that they're not recognized or identified as having been part of that revolt and revolution that took place.
Oh, that's an explanation. Yeah.
Criminals they are. They're gathering up the criminals.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that maybe, as we come to the end of our discussion, that we should read this psalm once again. I think that we should have it in our hearts as we close our time today.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
91.
Even more so. We decided that although we had already done it, that what we needed to hear was Psalm number
91.
what? 91?
Yep.
Yeah, Psalm 91. So Barbara, will you read it again?
Sure. You who live in the shelter of the Most High, who abide in the shadow of the Almighty, will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For he will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and a buckler. You will not fear the terror of the night, or the arrow that flies by day, or the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked, because you have made the Lord your refuge, the Most High your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, no scourge come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the adder, the young lion and the serpent you will trample underfoot. Those who love me I will deliver. I will protect those who know my name. When they call to me, I will answer them. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue them and honor them. With long life, I will satisfy them and show them my salvation.
Well, there you go.
I guess so.
There's your bedtime prayer. What's this passage say? Whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are holy, think on these things. So let the words of the scriptures be the wings that guard you and guide you tonight, tomorrow, and through the day. It's good to be with you, my friends. I will reconnect, I guess, next week.
Yes.
All right?
Let us know what happens with that young lady tomorrow.
Okay, I will. I'll
Please.
send you a text and let you know what takes place. Okay?
See if we have to bring out protest signs.
I know, I was
to
gonna
the
say, I
camp.
may need you to join me. We're gonna go down in March. Okay? All right.
Okay,
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank
love
you.
you all.
Take care.
Ray.